We got a day in the green finally in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency markets, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're going to talk about, is it time to go all in? And I'm going to give you a spectrum across the range from blue chips to the literally the most disgustingly dirty degen play I have probably made all year that you should definitely not follow me into, but I just thought it was hilarious. So I'm going to share that with you guys at the end here. And without further ado, guys, if you're excited for this video, make sure you do us a favor and destroy that like button. If you're new to the channel, what's up? My name is Chasse, and I'm here to bring you all the alpha that you need to absolutely crush it in this upcoming bull run. Without further ado, let's get into it. And I heard my glasses, so I just tried to fix them. They were actually like tilted. So if they, and some general housekeeping real quick before we get into it. Those of you guys who have emailed with value adds to be in the VVIP group that actually adds value, we hear you. I see the messages. We're getting to them. Just need some organization internally, and that expect some responses in the next day or two. So anyway, let's dive into it. So look at the banter bubbles over here, guys, and this is the top 100, looking pretty good compared to US dollar values. Just keep that in mind as we go throughout the show here. And really, this chart, like I said before, this line that I drew before that was previously support is now seems to be acting as resistance. It's right about that $60,000 mark, just a little bit below that. And I do expect that once we, no matter what time frame you look at, we're still looking at bouncing off of here. When we get a nice clean break on the daily above this line, then I'm going to be a bit more bullish. For now, this could be another fake out. In fact, we had a massive outflow of ETFs yesterday. We'll talk about that in a second, but this is nice to see that the fear and greed index is coming into fear right now, which is exactly where you want to be. Remember, you want to be greedy when others are fearful, and you want to be fearful when others are greedy. Remember the words of the wise, my friend. And so now is a time to start thinking about how to be a little bit greedy. What do we want to buy? What do we want to go into? Now, apparently, the Wall Street is not used to this volatility, and they are now doing the opposite of what we should be doing, those of us who know better. So yesterday was the largest outflow of US ETFs in its Bitcoin ETF history of $564 million outflow. Huge. And Grayscale had $167 million outflow, another big day. And then for the first day ever, Grayscale's IBIT reported 36.93 million of outflow. Big red candle. Not really good to see. However, it's kind of strange that with that much that much sell pressure or net outflows, we still see green day. So maybe these people, well, not maybe, but likely the people who are now buying the ETFs aren't the kind of, because if you wanted to buy Bitcoin this whole time, you could have, right? So those who understand the market probably aren't using the ETFs. And so you see ETFs over here paper handing it as this first day of net outflows, as we talked about before. But even more news about the first day in Hong Kong, there was actually more than reported the last 2 days, for a total of $292 million in the first day, which is pretty tremendous. So the market should be open there in a few hours in Hong Kong, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens here when the market opens today, as they were closed yesterday, to see what kind of inflows and volume we can see from Hong Kong. Probably going to be bullish. And who else has been buying up the dip? Mr. 100 that we talk about a lot. We should just start calling him Mr. 3100, because yesterday bought up 3,100 Bitcoin, which is 6 times more than the daily mined 450 Bitcoin, just from this one purchaser alone. Who is it? I don't know. It's probably a nation state, right? It's just a massive amount of Bitcoin that smashed buying 182 million of Bitcoin spread across 21 different buys at midnight last night. Insane. If I had billions of dollars of fiat, I would also be doing the same thing a long time ago. But this report came out from VanEck, and what's the most interesting, it shows you how, well, let me just read this to you. So Bitcoin interest among institutional investors has also increased. Hedge funds, asset management firms, and endowments are increasingly recognizing Bitcoin's potential as a store of value and as an effective portfolio diversifier, specifically when we look through the lens of uncorrelated asset that has potential to hedge against inflation. Approximately 175 billion worth of Bitcoin are now held by ETFs, countries, public and private companies. You can see the breakdown here. This is just what's reported. We don't know, right, what other countries might be holding. Public companies in the United States, they have to disclose. Private companies, I don't know if they have to disclose or not. ETFs are obviously transparent. We know that. But there's a lot of other interesting, if you just go to VanEck and look at their blogs, you can see this entire report on Bitcoin and the whole crypto market overall here. Historically, Bitcoin and the crypto markets have been quite correlated to stock markets. And they're just saying that we're starting to see like an uncorrelated, which is nice, right? You want crypto to be kind of independent of stock market, right? And you want people to kind of be valuing it on independently from stocks. And this is just crazy to show. If you're someone whose money is being managed by VanEck, if you show them this is like, so typically what these brokers or asset managers suggest is like this 60-40 split, right? We've talked about this before on the show. 60% equities, 40% to bonds, very conservative, very boring. Look, it's the worst performer of all of them. And then the other lines are when you add a little bit of Bitcoin to your portfolio. Look at this one here's 0.5%. This one's 1%, and this one's 3%. Imagine if you had 5 or 10%, it would be way up here. And so this data is very helpful for their sales. And you can see out of the last 11 years, Bitcoin has been the top performing of 8 of those 11 years. Crazy to think that I was in Bitcoin before this chart even starts. But I've been through all of these years. Pretty wild. And BlackRock says that the largest players yet have still to come in. BlackRock sees sovereign wealth funds, pension plans coming into Bitcoin. And a quote from BlackRock says, many of these interested firms, whether we're talking about pensions, endowments, sovereign wealth funds, insurers, other asset managers, family offices, are having ongoing diligence and research conversations with BlackRock. So these are the big money funds, right? These are not the high net worth individuals. These are the guys, that are managing like entire countries, retirement plans. And they're very long-term focused, right? 20 years, 30 years. These are not paper hands. These are people who are going to look to buy, add to the portfolio, diversify, and hold for a very long time. This is still the biggest money as yet to come, but it looks like, some of them are on the verge of actually making that move. And Chad, Michael Saylor, he made this statement back in February that he was going to be focusing on, because after all, MicroStrategy is a software development company. They were going to start focusing their attention on how to build on Bitcoin. And yesterday, there was this announcement of MicroStrategy actually building a digital identity platform on Bitcoin Layer 1. So it looks like when Michael Saylor kind of capped out how much Bitcoin he can buy, what else do? You go build a business on Bitcoin that allows you to earn more Bitcoin from your revenue. This guy is laser-eyed on, brilliant on accumulating Bitcoin. I think we all need to take a little bit of that, right? I mean, he's a complete maxi because he's also rich and a public traded company. He needs to be. But I also echo the sentiment that Bitcoin is the king asset and everyone should have a good amount in their portfolio. As I was saying before yesterday, guys, now is the perfect time to be choosing carefully and curating a portfolio that has quality coins. Time to clean up and choose the winners if you want max gains this cycle. If you guys aren't following me on X, make sure you go do that at Kyle_Chasse. 202,000.2 followers now. So thanks you guys who are following over there and getting value. Smash the like if you haven't already, if you're finding value. Let's review how money flows through the crypto market. So Bitcoin tends to always lead a rally into a bull, but then you start to see money flowing into Ethereum. And then after that stage, you could go to large caps and then smaller caps. And then you go into basically parabolic alt season. And so we want to kind of mimic that, right? And there's always anomalies and outliers every single market cycle. Like, for example, this one has been memes and AI. But you see a lot of the high quality mid and small caps haven't been exploding nearly as much as, as like against Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the anomalies like memes and AI. So that's typically what we want to follow. Now, the picture is a little bit different when you look at things compared to Bitcoin. So this chart, this is over here, is compared to dollars, right? US dollars. But when you compare the gains compared to Bitcoin, you see it doesn't look as good. So not so much things are outperforming Bitcoin. Some of the calls that we talked about yesterday are doing quite well, like DOT, for example. It's good to see that. With always the hat is still on the dog. And if you go over here to this AI portal I use called Kaito, you can see that if we look at narrative mindshare, it's basically Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and then followed by a bunch of Ethereum layer 2s. That being said, and this is D-Bridge, which shows us where money's flowing. It's basically back and forth from Solana, ETH to Base, and a little bit to Arbitrum, but mostly that's where most of the money is flowing. So let's focus on those ecosystems. Bitcoin, this is the max chart, and you can just see it's a bullish chart always, right? And this is like, you just know that Bitcoin's always going to be around. And even though we're on the path to a parabolic crypto market, and obviously the best gains will be made in the lower cap altcoins, Bitcoin is what you always want to take profits into, and you always want to, always be accumulating, even if it's like 0.0001 Bitcoin or, a few thousand Satoshis or whatever. Accumulate Bitcoin. Like, it just do whatever you can now while it's still under, it's $60,000 in the grand scheme of things, guys. This is going to be a multi-million-dollar asset per coin, and I'm very confident in that. So do what you can. I think everyone watching this, if you can make it a goal in your life to at least get a quarter of a Bitcoin, like that should be everybody's base case goal. And if you're watching this channel, then you should probably be capable, at least within the next 6 to 12 months, of accumulating a whole Bitcoin for sure. So I would love to see all of you guys at least have one Bitcoin, because then you will be in the top 1% of Bitcoin holders in the world, and you will become the 1%. Essentially, because all other fiat currencies are crumbling, and Bitcoin will not only retain purchasing power, but becomes far superior to every other fiat currency on the planet. As you can see, Ethereum is still the dominant smart contract platform. I mean, it holds the majority of TVL leaps and bounds, like exponentially more than everyone else combined. So Ethereum, this chart right here is the ETH to Bitcoin chart, and you can see that when you come into either a pullback, like a bear market starting, bam, ETH drops dramatically compared to Bitcoin. But when you start to see the bull cycle, like maybe we're somewhere like here or something like that, right here, right now, like over here, and it's led, Ethereum dominance starts to gain on Bitcoin. And this is when, of course, ETH leads altcoin season. So could we be seeing the next leg up here? Maybe, maybe not. Could be coming back down. But I do think that as we come into altcoin season, probably, I don't know when that's going to be, 1 month, 3 months from now, whatever, but it's coming. Ethereum still has been underperforming compared to Bitcoin the entire year, as you can see here. I mean, longer than a year, right? And so I expect this to start ticking up here pretty soon. I think Ethereum is a really good play. Now, this is kind of the more conservative spectrum for those of you guys who watch this channel, right? Like, some of you aren't looking to be super degenerate. You just want good advice on how to outperform the stock market, outperform, what to do with your dollars that you have laying around. And of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be good plays. Ethereum also has this exploding layer 2 ecosystem, layer 3 ecosystem that all ends up bringing value back to the ETH base, the ETH main chain, and ends up taking ETH for gas and burning Ethereum, and Ethereum becomes a deflationary currency, and that's what you want to look for. Base, the base chain, which we expect to have an airdrop relatively soon, is exploding, like 50,000 new wallets a day. Everything, all the charts are straight up. And as you guys know, if you watch this, Commonwealth will be launching on Base as well. And now they've been making the upgrades to the Base wallet. I don't think this is the smart wallet that they're going to be releasing, but now you can start to see the trending. You can see here on the thumbnail, you got Brett here, just the top coins trending on Base in the Coinbase wallet. So Base is definitely an ecosystem that you want to pay attention to. And right now, that Base uses Ethereum for gas. Solana, always a good bet. Like, it's, especially with Firedancer coming out soon and its ability to scale, it is, sitting right now at a $60 million FDV, but it's also 47% below last season's all-time highs, which was, over 2 years ago. And I expect this thing to at least go to 2, 3, 4x its old all-time highs, probably 3 or 4x. So you still have another, like, if you're more on the conservative side, but you want more, like a little bit more risk and reward compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana right now I think is perfect for that. It's a, like, you could expect easily like a 6 to 10x from here. 10's pushing, maybe 6, 8x from here. Realistically, I think just no problem. I think that's where it's headed. So, like I said, there's anomalies, and in the past 24 hours, memes have been popping up again. It's interesting to see that. I think a lot of people maybe speculated that with this correction would kind of be the end of the shitcoin casino, but it clearly is not, as they were one of the quickest to bounce. What I don't like about CoinGecko right now is it's missing some of my favorite memes, like PepeCoin, like Tucker, like Gummy. They're just not here, so it doesn't really give you a good outlook. But I did tell you yesterday, Bowden was something that I would have been picking up, and I still think it's a pretty good deal, as I think this thing, as it gets closer to elections and Bowden is making more appearances and becoming more memeable just from him being alive still, will be funny, and it will get more attention, and I think that's going to skyrocket. Solana is also now being able to be traded and integrated into the Coinbase wallet, so it's also going to be kind of this onboarding chain as well. So very, very bullish on both Base and Solana. Telegram, TON. We've talked about this before. This seems like so under discussed and so obvious, with 900 million users creeping toward 1 billion users, and they're all going to have, you already have, if you have Telegram, you already have your wallet. If you just push a button and the wallet's created for you, and it's so easy to send currency to anyone for basically free on the TON blockchain. And I think that it is still right now 33% below all-time highs, and it really never had its chance to pop off in a bull market. So who knows how high this could go, but TON could easily become the most used blockchain for transactions, for volume, for just think about how convenient that is to be able to send crypto to anybody that you have in your Telegram contacts without having to think about what their wallet address is. Just tap their name, send them something, they get it that fast, and you can have native dApps, native games in Telegram. You bypass the iOS and Google App Store, and this thing I think just has so much potential. As you can see, one of the largest and most OG crypto VC funds, Pantera, recently made an investment into TON blockchain. And Paul over here from Pantera wrote up a big thesis on TON. I suggest that you guys go read that. You can follow Paul here at this one, Verdict from Pantera, and then check out his, or you can just go to verdict.com, and then his blogs are always there. They're always pretty informative. Fantom we've talked about before. It's there's a lot to be bullish there. It still has a really still 80% down below its old all-time highs, which I think it will reclaim. And there's a lot of things to be bullish about Fantom, like this Sonic upgrade that we've talked about before. And so I think starting to DCA into these things that we've talked about before so far have gone from the least risky, the least risk reward, to getting now to a little bit more risk, a little bit more reward. And Sui is very interesting. I hear a lot of chatter behind, from the in crowd, the kind of behind the scenes people that know a lot. I think Sui is a really good reason to be bullish. But if you're watching this, be very careful, because on the 3rd, is it the 3rd? If you go here to CryptoRank and you look at different projects, you can find their vesting schedules oftentimes. And what you notice here is on May, starts to unlock a lot of tokens here. And if we look down here on the schedule, you can see that on the 4th, so tomorrow, not today, but tomorrow, $904 million, or 8% of the supply, gets unlocked to early contributors and investors, and the Mistin Labs treasury, and the community reserves, and all the stuff. So what I would be doing is looking at, because I am bullish on Sui, but I would look for a big dip or set some buy orders right now. Maybe you can get Sui at 80 cents, set buy orders all the way from 70 cents to 90 cents, and just set them there and see if all the VCs sell off. and you can maybe buy this on a nice dip. It's I think that it's still 50% below all-time highs, and you have a good chance in the next 24 hours to be able to get this thing much cheaper than it is right now on one of these maybe wicks down when these VCs unload potentially. It could not happen too, but hey, I mean, that's something to be aware of. Definitely do not buy it before this unlock event happens, for sure. And if you want more information about what SUI is, like Mazzari's did a great report here on SUI, all the reasons to be bullish. There's a lot of reasons to be bullish on SUI. You can go to Mazzari and read this state of SUI Q3 2023 and Q1 2024. And here comes. Are you ready for this? So I'll show you the chart first. And a full this is the 1 minute chart. So you guys can see, like, I bought this thing very recently. Let's go to like 5 minutes or whatever. And you can see here, where I bought here and then I bought here. And then it's gone up a bit since then. This is called Trader. And the name of the ticker, the name of the token is actually Chill Guys, I'm Not a Scammer. And it's at a $1.6 million FDV right now, so very low cap. Guys, this is super, super degenerate and like very likely to go to zero. And the fact that he says he's 1.9 million now. The fact that he says he's not a scammer, he could very well be a scammer. But the one thing that's interesting is that he is 24/7 live streaming his life. He's a dev, a Korean dev, eating his kimchi and fried chicken and live streaming all of this. And this is the website for it. I just think if I laugh when I go to a meme coin website, I should probably buy something. So I didn't buy a lot in it, right? Like a few $1,000s, but I entered, right? At like 1.1, 1.2 million or something like that. And they started on Pump.fun, which we talked about before. This is the dude. And if you go to the Telegram, you can just go in the Telegram, and at the top he's live streaming 24 hours a day. So right now, like, I was just watching him sleep. So let's see. What should I do? Let me show you this first, and then so why Trader Coin so special? And he goes, pure dev. He's a developer who values and loves the community. Live stream. He's always has a live stream broadcast, even bedtime broadcasts.